By the way, let's focus here now on this story. Now, the National Labour Migration Policy, it's the first time this country is doing it.
Yes.
Ever. And since democracy as well. Very, very interesting. It's now out for public comment. The Minister of Employment and Labour, Thulas Nxesi, putting it out there today. But there was a need now for more than ever to be addressed because of the employment crisis in the country. But some people, government has been under pressure with recent events to really move on this because it's been in the pot for some time.
Yes, it's really been bubbling under, Bradan, and the reason for this is because you have South Africans unemployed, begging for job opportunities, begging for government to address the issue. And, you know, you'll have the Minister of Employment and Labour saying, yes, the issue needs to be addressed, but it needs to be done in a different and more peaceful manner, where as you have unemployed people saying, no, we are tired of this and something needs to be addressed. So we do understand that this draft National Labour Migration Policy, the bill is out and it's out for public comments. 90 days for all stakeholders, NEDLAC and all involved to make their recommendations and their comments on how this should go about. It's going to focus on the quotas. So, for example, in certain sectors and certain industries of the economy, how many South Africans should be employed versus how many migrants should be employed. The issue speaks to the fact that, especially in unskilled sectors, you have a problem where businesses will rather employ migrants instead of South Africans because they might find that it's cheaper labour. You don't have the hassle of needing to deal with other labour and employment issues, whereas with South Africans, you might have that kind of issue. So the minister's saying there needs to be some kind of line that's drawn. There needs to be a legal framework to address this problem. But he's also gone as far, Bradan, to say that migrants also have the right to job opportunities. And while there is a crisis in this country, because many are saying that migrants have more jobs than what South Africans do, he feels as though this needs to be done properly, it needs to be addressed properly, and this is why this is out for public comment. But let's listen further to the Minister on that.
South Africa is a signatory to international treaties and conventions governing the rights of migrants and refugees. All policies and interventions were developed within the ambit of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And government will ensure the protection of migrants and their families in accordance with the international standards and the guidelines. Fourthly, South Africa will also implement these initiatives within the context of the regional integration and cooperation imperatives that have been agreed. These have been agreed to at the SADC level, the Southern African Development Community, and at the level of the African Union. So the National Labour Migration Policy goes hand in hand with a proposed Employment Services Amendment Bill, providing the policy framework and the legal basis to regulate the extent to which employers can employ foreign nationals in their establishments, whilst protecting the rights of the migrants. Our argument is very simple. Given our constitution, given our basic conditions of employment, all workers have rights, regardless of where they come from.
And I spoke to Tony Healy just after 2 o'clock, Heidi, about this, just to get a labour analyst's view. And he made it clear that it's been in the works since 2016, but government now is feeling the pressure. And one of the pressures is civil society. We've seen Operation Dudula, for example, with South Africans saying, no, they're targeting some employers and they want them to stop employing foreign employees in those non-skilled things. So what was Operation Dudula? How was it viewed by the minister? What did they say?
So the minister is very clear on Operation Dudula. He believes as though everybody has a right to protest, everybody has a right to express their dissatisfaction, but he believes it should be done in the correct manner and it shouldn't be violent and aggressive. He did also mention that the security cluster team has now taken over Operation Dudula in terms of trying to deal with it and make sure that it is peaceful. The big concern, though, Bradan, is that you have Operation Dudula expressing their frustration with the fact that government, in many instances, is aware that undocumented migrants are in the country and they are being given job opportunities, or, for example, there are allegations of illegal activity that's been happening in certain areas of Gauteng, yet government has not taken action. And this question was also posed to the minister to say, why do we have to wait, for example, Operation Dudula, for government to realize that there is a crisis and something needs to be done? And the minister says that they've tried to engage, they're dealing with the process, and this is why you have this policy now that could come about when it's eventually taken to cabinet and to parliament to deal with the problem. But until then, you are going to see many protests. You are going to see action taken on the streets because South Africans are frustrated. You have over 60%.
Especially because, sorry, Heidi, to cut in, especially because most of the undocumented foreign economic activity happens in the informal trade.
Yes.
And it's so easy to get into a spaza shop or do something on the side, and South Africans are not getting those opportunities because many of them are unemployed. And then if you're in the informal trade, you don't even pay tax.
Exactly, and you have the president during the State of the Nation address saying that he's appointed a team to deal with the red tape when it comes to these small businesses, yet you're not dealing with the bigger elephant in the room, which is what are you going to do about these undocumented foreign nationals that are in the country, that are trading. Yes, they're trying to make a living and everybody should be given that right and opportunity, but what are you doing about our own people, South Africans? And this is why you have Operation Dudula. But the minister's saying that this should be done in a more peaceful and civil manner, and they are trying to address all the issues here. But let's listen further to the minister on that.
I just want to urge South Africans not to engage in, no matter what their feeling is, in relation to these issues. They have the right to protest, but not to engage in illegal activities and even violence. So we can't condone what they are doing and getting into the areas and forcing their way through. It's not acceptable. But remember that the JPS cluster is handling this particular matter because once it becomes the way it is, it doesn't become just a labor issue. It goes beyond that. So they are dealing with this particular matter.